What's up, guys? Let's get in this van and take a ride. It's your girl, Samar. Guys, we're going to take a little break this week from the Game of Thrones because I got to get into this file that Thinker gave me. It is humongous, guys. I'm trying to tell you something. We have got to get into that because that is going to help us crack the code. So shout out to you, Arl, for that file. Shout out to all my homies. We got Yolanda. Shout out to you, girl. Peace to the tribe. Shout out to you, brother. And Thinker, I don't know if you're a brother or a sister. Let me know. I've been wanting to shout you out a little more too. Michael Brown and Mimi. Come on, guys. It's our crew. Listen, guys. I like to back up all statements. Right, guys? And just bear with me. Sometimes it might take us off of our journey that we've been on. But I don't think it's cool to just throw out stuff that I know, but I haven't shared with you guys. All right. And I've been saying stuff very confidently, right? Remember I told you guys that there was this sickness following Judah, right? Little wayward cousins got their own personal STD, right? Messing around with the Moabite Midianite woman. Go ahead, get you one. Okay. We backed that up. We backed up the claim of Judah striking a chord with a minor, right? With a minor, right? Last week we backed that up. This week I want to step away from the Game of Thrones for a second and back up this claim that I've been making about this book not being this old, right? And I think when I back this claim up today about the inventor that we see in the background, y'all are going to see what the hell I'm talking about with this book. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that every lesson up until this point has helped to build trust and help you guys to understand that they've added this old sounding language from your drunk uncle. You understand what I'm saying? That they partnered with painters to illuminate their scripts. You understand what I'm saying? All written by their scribes. Okay. When I recognize this, though, guys, y'all got to understand that there are inventions spoken of in this book. There's another one next week I'm going to cover concerning California, guys, and those spring towers that Joash made, right? But this week, I want to talk about this gentleman in the background, Mr. Uzziah Gal. We're going to find out that's not even really his real name either, too, but Mr. Uzziah Gal created something that has changed the landscape of war as we know it, right? And it sounded a lot like somebody else in the book that we had read about named Uzziah that changed the landscape of war in his country. Guys, it's my belief that these people that I'm going to bring to you today, these two individuals, one from history and one from this book, are one and the same. All right? I'll show you guys why. All right. It's the wayward cousin. Check it out. Let's go to 2 Chronicles 26. All right, guys. And then after we read this, I want y'all to tell me if I'm the one bugging. Okay, watch this. Y'all know I'm pretty sharp. Watch what I caught. Uzziah succeeds Amaziah in Judah, where they like to strike a chord with a minor. Let's keep going. Then all the people of Judah took Uzziah, who was 16 years old. Remember how young this person is, okay? And made him king in place of his father, Amaziah. He built Eloth and restored it to Judah after the king slept with his fathers in death. Uzziah was 16 years old when he became king, and he reigned 52 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name, close this window, guys. I don't want y'all to have to deal with the planes flying over. His mother's name, we're right here, was Jekilah of Jerusalem. Quick question, guys. Are there any Israelites in Jerusalem? No. Right, guys? So we know this is only speaking to the family of Judah, and probably some other wayward cousins like Levi or Simeon. You know, the ones that were in the southern territory, Benjamin. He did right in the sight of the Lord in accordance with everything that his father Amaziah had done. He continued to seek God in the days of Zechariah, who had understanding through the vision of God. Uh-oh, sorry, y'all. Y'all know me. I start pressing stuff. Didn't mean to. Let's try to get that little blue bubble out of your face. He continued to seek God in the days of Zechariah, who had understanding through the vision of God. And as long as he sought the Lord, God caused him to prosper. Okay, so we don't know who this guy was seeking out, but, you know, it just reminds me of Moses, right? Running around praying to who knows what. Okay, but not our creator. All right, guys, and we know this because Moses did not get into the promised land, so he had a vendetta against the children of Israel. Let's keep going. Uzziah succeeds in war. He went out and made war against the Philistines and broke through the wall of Gath, the wall of Jabneh, and the wall of Ashdod, and he built cities near Ashdod among the Philistines. God helped him against the Philistines and against the Arabs who lived in Gerbal and the Mennonites. The Ammonites paid tribute money to Uzziah, and his fame spread abroad. So Uzziah is becoming very famous. Right? People are hearing about him, and they're like, "Yo, we need to know more about what this dude is making." Right? So let's keep going. They were paying tribute money to him. His fame spread abroad, even as far as the borders of Egypt, for he became very strong. Uzziah also built towers in Jerusalem at the corner gates. These are like lookout towers, guys. I'm trying to tell you something. Uzziah is a master of war. Okay? He is a strategist. He's going to help people win wars by the things he's making. So right here, they said that he made a tower, all right, and placed it at the corner gate. All right, now remember, these towers were facing Israel at one point too. The valley gate, and at the corner, the buttress of the wall, and he fortified them. He also built towers in the wilderness and dug many cisterns, all right, for he had a great deal of livestock, both in the lowlands and in the plain. He also had farmers and vine dressers in the hill country and in the fertile fields, for he loved the soil. So this young kid is he's very innovative. Okay, guys, he's making all of these inventions. Moreover, Uzziah had an army ready for battle, which went into combat by divisions according to the number of their muster, as recorded by Jael the scribe. Right? Remember, they need that scribe. And Messiah the official, under the direction of Hananiah, one of the king's commanders. The total numbers of the heads of the fathers' households of valiant men was 2,600. Under their command was an army of 307,500 who could wage war with great power to help the king against the enemy. All right. Moreover, Uzziah prepared shields, spears, helmets, body armor, bows, sling stones for the entire army. Remember, guys, I'm trying to tell y'all, these ain't no regular stones. All right, these are probably grenades. Jerusalem, he made, here we go. This is what we came here for, y'all. In Jerusalem, he made machines of war, invented by skillful men to be put on the towers and on the corner battlements for the purpose of shooting arrows and large stones, right, guys? So they gonna have you think that this man is just making uh, a crossbow, maybe, or something to catapult. Okay, in my mind, this ain't just no arrows, and these ain't just stones. These are probably rocket grenade launchers, and I'm gonna show you the arrows the machine arrows that he made for shooting arrows, right? His fame spread far, for he was marvelously helped until he was strong. Pride is Uzziah's undoing. But when Uzziah became strong, he became so proud of himself and his accomplishments that he acted corruptly, and he was unfaithful and sinned against the Lord his God. For he went into the temple of the Lord to burn incense on the altar of the incense. Then Azariah, the priest, went in after him, and with him 80 priests of the Lord, says men of courage. They opposed King Uzziah and said to him, "It's not for you, Uzziah, to burn incense to the Lord before the priests, the sons of Aaron, who have been consecrated to burn incense. Get out of the sanctuary, for you've been unfaithful and will have no honor from the Lord God." Then Uzziah, with a censer in his hand to burn incense, was enraged. And while he was enraged with the priest, leprosy broke out on his forehead, right here, before the priest in the house of the Lord, beside the incense altar. As Uzziah the chief priest, remember what the Creator said, your incense stink. As Uzziah the chief priest and all the priests looked toward him, behold, he was leprous on his forehead. And they hurried him out of there. And he also hurried to get out, because the Lord had stricken him. King Uzziah was a leper to the day of his death. Being a leper, he lived in a separate house, for he was excluded from the house of the Lord. And his son Jotham took the charge of the king's household, judging and governing the people of the land. Now the rest of the acts of Uzziah, from the first to the last, Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amoz, has written. So Uzziah slept with his fathers, and they buried him with his fathers in the burial field of the kings, outside the royal tomb. For they said, "He is a leper," and his son Jotham became king in his place. So this young man, they said he was how old? 16 years old, right? Yep. Then they said he had made machines of war, right? Corner towers. And where'd it go? The machines of war. Hold on, let me find that machine of war. Here we go. Machines of war, right? Machines of war. And that he had become leprous. So hold on to all of those facts, guys. He's a young guy. He's making guns. And he dies of an illness. Okay? These are the important things, all right? Because I'm going to introduce y'all to a character in history that sounds a lot like Uzziah, who also happens to have the name, pretty much, Uziel. Okay? But hold on to that Uzi. I thought I had lost my mind when I found this article, guys, because it kind of just supports my thesis that this book ain't that old. They're implanting modern stories into a book that's not that old. Couldn't possibly be, because watch when I show you the similarities of this story and the story we just read in the Torah. Okay? The Pentateuch. Sorry. Check this out. The inventor of the what? This weapon. That weapon. Sounds a lot like a machine, right? Let's keep going. An Israeli designer, right? Uzi Gal, little Uzi Gal, gained fame as the inventor and namesake of the Uzi submachine gun. Born to a Jewish family in Weimar, Germany, there goes that German connection, right? Uzi Gal moved to England when these folks came to power in 1933. okay, fleeing during the earliest days of the Holocaust. He then made Aliyah, which is an immigrate to the Holy Land 3 years later. Which Holy Land? Huh? Probably right here. Watch what I tell you. Shortly after the Declaration of Independence and founding of the State of Israel in 1948, Gal began working on designing the Uzi submachine gun, the officially adopted weapon in 1951, naming it for its creator. Gal actually did not want the gun named after him, but his request was ignored. The IDF decorated Gal for his work in 1955, right? So this is just telling you a little, but I wanted y'all to have this part in here. Let me keep going. In 1958, the Prime Minister here, David Ben-Gurion, named him with the very first recipient of the Israel Security Award. Gal retired from the IDF in 1975 and moved to where? Where they making pilgrimages to? The United States, where his daughter Tamar could receive medical treatment for severe brain damage. He continued his work designing firearms, including the creation of the Ruger, but people would say that's a German gun. I'm telling y'all, this German connection is deep with these folks. Which was a submachine gun until his death from what? Cancer in 2002. His body now rests in Israel, the homeland he served. Huh? Let's keep going. But Shamar, this can't be the same person. You've only showed us that, yes, he did die of something, and yes, he made the gun, right? Hold on. Was he young? Was he young when he made these creations? Let's see. Man with the mark of the submachine gun. The life of the Israeli designer who created one of the most iconic weapons of the 20th century was full of paradoxes. Really? Yuval Gal came from Germany, resisted naming the submachine gun after himself, and was generally a quiet person. When the future officer was born, there he goes holding his inventions, right? These arrow shooting machines. When the future officer was born on December 15th, 1923, to a Jewish family in Weimar, his birth certificate bore the name, this is why I told y'all, name was not the same, Gotthard Glass. When the Nazis took power in Germany, Gotthard's father, Erich, decided to immigrate to Palestine. The Glass family settled in Kubitz Yager near Haifa and changed their surname to the Hebrew surname of Gal. The boy also adopted the Jewish name Uziel. See? So then they changed their name. This sounds like a conversion of sorts, huh? Huh? It sounds like they were initially not not going by a Hebrew name and then decided to employ one. Okay, interesting. All right, it says he was a natural talent. Gal spent most of his life around Jaeger. He became increasingly interested in mechanics, weapons, and their designs. He confirmed his talent at the age of what? 15. What they said that other guy was? 16. So we have in the Torah a 16-year-old who makes these machine arrows, all kinds of weapons and stuff, and then dies of leprosy later on, right? Well, here we have this guy who designs the machine gun at 15 in their Israel and dies later on of an infectious disease. Y'all see the similarities now? Let's keep going. When he built, and they're going to call it an arrow launcher. Check this out. Confirmed his talent at the age of 15 when he built an automatic arrow launcher and soon began studying mechanical engineering. When he came of age, he joined the paramilitary organization Haganah, which defended the settlement against attack from the Arab populations. His contributions included acquiring and manufacturing weapons, which the British did not allow Jews to possess in the mandated territory. In 1943, the police knocked on Uziel's door. He was sentenced to 6 years in prison but received clemency in 1946. Who gave him that clemency? I wonder, because it darn sure didn't tell us. When Israel declared its independence on May 14th, 1948, Arab armies invaded its territory. The Haganah transformed into the army, and Gal also joined the fight, earning a commission. Despite the victory, the diversity of weapons caused problems during training and supply of ammunition and parts. Officers understood the need for standardized models, including submachine guns, and Chief of General Staff Yaakov Dori announced a competition for a rapid-fire weapon of domestic design. So they held this competition. They wanted it to be made by somebody within their ranks, and they was somebody that understood the weather, the climate, all of that good stuff. So this is where they decided to throw this competition, right? The Israeli military industries approached two designers. The first was Major Chaim Kara, the future head of the Israeli Army's Light Weapons Department. The second proposal was to be created by Gal, now also a recognized expert with the ranks of lieutenant. So they go to these two people, right? That got high rank. Uzi is one of them, and the other guy is Chaim right here, okay? All right. And Uzi's a lieutenant at this time, okay? He found inspiration in the product of Czechoslovak armies, as post-war did from Prague had included technically advanced submachine guns. Uziel was particularly impressed by the ZK476 prototype, right? He adopted several functional principles from them, especially the telescope bolt that fit over the rear part of the barrel, allowing the weapon's length to be reduced without shortening the barrel. Gal's 9x19mm submachine gun utilized the blowback energy after firing and had an unlocked dynamic bolt. The Israeli integrated a fixed firing pin into the bolt face, causing the cartridge to ignite just before it fully chambered. This consumed part of the blowback energy before the bolt fully closed the chamber, resulting in reduced recoil and a more stable weapon behavior. Right. So by adding that pin, the gun ain't just jerking you all over the place. It allowed you to shoot and still be able to stand stable without flying all over the place through the kickback. When considering the details, Gal used his own combat experience. For instance, he remembered how difficult older submachine guns were to operate in the dark. He placed the magazine directly into the pistol grip, allowing the weapon to be reloaded by touch alone without searching for the magazine well. Okay, so because he had fought already out, he knew that nobody wanted to be fumbling around in the dark for no magazine clip. So he figured out that, hey, the best way to reload this is to go right into the chamber. So I don't have to be running around and looking for light to try to reload. He brought his experience to the design of this gun. The magazine's central position also contributed to the submachine gun's balance, allowing for relatively accurate one-handed firing. The rate of fire was kept at a manageable 600 rounds per minute. All right? This thing is firing off 600 rounds a minute. The initial magazine version held 25 rounds, later expanded to high capacity 32 rounds, and reduced to 20-round versions. Gal installed a combined fire mode selector and safety switch above the left grip panel and also included a grip safety. Uzi's design emerged as the clear winner in test. Carr's K-12 model failed, not due to a less imaginative design, but due to high cost, complexity, and lower durability. Gal's tougher submachine gun, right, that machine, could be almost entirely made from cheap stampings, a key advantage for the young state. Tests also showed incredible resistance to sand, dust, and heat. Because where they at? Y'all know. Mad Max time. Simultaneously, it was decided to name the submachine gun after its designer, Uziel. All right. He protested. He didn't want a tool for killing people to bear his name. The generals ignored his protests, and the legendary Uzi was born. In 1952, Gal patented the weapon, but the production rights belonged to the Ministry of Defense. When the submachine gun achieved export success, all profits went to the state. So this was what they wanted to do, was make weapons of mass destruction they could sell to everybody else. Okay, and this is how they became rich. This state of who? Where are they at? Y'all remember. The government recognized Uzziel's contributions by awarding him high honors. So it becomes an international bestseller. In 1954, representatives of the Israeli armed forces, right? Remember where I told y'all where he's at? This is how they become rich. They're exporting them. Signed an order for the first 8,000 submachine guns, 10 times as many magazines. Early examples featured wooden stocks, while later ones were supplied with folding metal stock. This made the gun popular with armored vehicle crews and pilots. Special forces and paratroopers also received them in large numbers. He is supplying armies with this weapon. The submachine gun first saw combat during the Sinai conflict in 1956. They proved to be a blessing for these soldiers during the Six-Day War in 1967, effectively used in fortified encounters on the Golan Heights. So this is how they were able to procure a lot of that land over there. The robust weapon was gradually adopted by other armies. Licensed versions were produced in Belgium, the USA, South Africa, and Rhodesia, with unlicensed copies in Croatia and China. Israel exported the weapon to about 90 countries. You hear that? You hear that? This is supposed to be a peaceful place, though. They are making this weapon and exporting this weapon to everybody. Users include Estonia, France, Ireland, Malta, the Netherlands, Romania, Serbia, Togo, Swaziland, Bangladesh, Fiji, Tonga, Uruguay, and Suriname. In the Western world, the Uzi became the most widely used submachine gun for decades. This is what they used. By little Uzi Gal. Little Uzi Gal made it. Okay? Employed by secret agents and gangsters in street shootouts, soldiers on special missions, and action movie heroes. Come on now, we all watch, what's his name? Schwarzenegger get to the chopper waving one of these things around. They put this in our faces in all of the movies. Despite Gal's efforts for maximum safety, some Uzis developed an unpleasant defect. After many years of service, the weapon could fire even with the manual safety on, or fire a burst into the selector in single-shot mode. These issues, along with the advent of more modern designs, led to the Uzi being phased out of Israeli services in the 1980s. In the service of the Ruger, but no, they told you it was a German gun. It is a German gun made by some Judahites that's now done took over somebody else's territory. Let's keep going. It just gets wilder and wilder. The Lieutenant Colonel Gal left the Army in 1975 to move to where? Here. And care for his daughter, Tamara. Now they're going to call her Tamara, but they said it was Tamar, who had a brain disorder. After her death in 1984, he stayed in the USA, returning to work with weapons. He revisited his most famous creation and decided to improve it. The rights to the Uzi were then owned by the Connecticut arms manufacturer Sturm, Ruger & Co. Under their auspices, Uzziel immersed himself into work. The new design incorporated modern materials while retaining the basic functional principles. The Ruger MP9 fired 9 × 19 mm millimeter ammunition and used 32 round magazines. All right. You could fire semi-automatic or automatic modes. All right. It says, despite the lethal effectiveness of Gal's design, those who knew him described Uziel as a quiet and modest person with a secret dream of working in orthopedic medicine. What? I'm done. Nevertheless, he was most knowledgeable about weapons throughout his life. Shortly before his death, he was working on a new pistol design, which Israeli newspapers claimed would revolutionize the global arms market. Gal never saw his beloved Israel again, as he succumbed to cancer in the U.S. in September of 2002. His remains were transferred to Israel and buried near Kibbutz Yager. You see that? So once again, we have this character who in the Torah was supposed to have succumbed to um, this infectious disease. Started out his career as a young king from the age of 16. Okay. And once again, we got this for this figure right here, who I found. Okay. Now, is leprosy and cancer the same thing, you would say, right? So, leprosy has terrorized mankind since biblical times and was recorded as early as 600 BC in India, China, and Egypt. The phrase leprosy and its semantic variants are mentioned 68 times in the Bible. In the Old Testament, the case of leprosy likely involved a kind of infectious skin disease. Okay, I wanted to point that out to you guys because you might be saying, well, cancer and leprosy is not really the same thing, right? But according to the Old Testament, it was more like a skin disorder. And I wanted to bring in this Frankish kings because last week we talked about the Franks being, French. But this article is bringing in the Germanic people again. Look, the Frankish Empire. The Franks were a West Germanic group of people made up of different tribes, which originated near the Lower Rhine region. The name Franks is first found in 3rd century Roman sources. However, the different tribes that eventually made up the Franks were known by individual names long before that. So be careful, guys. The Franks and Germans seem to kind of holding hands here. Okay. And this is why we keep seeing this German connection, guys. And this is why I'm going to say this book is not this old. It's not. It can't be. Not when we have this Uzziah, right? At 16 years old, right? Making machines of war. Who then, like I said, 16 years old, makes this machine of war, and then later on dies from an infectious disease. We see the stunt you trying to pull, Judah. Yeah, we do. And we know ain't no coincidences. And I personally hope I've done a good job of showing y'all today that this Uzziah is the same as this Uzziah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very much still a part of our family feud. It ain't nothing but good old Judah playing games again, guys. Yeah. See? It's the same Uzziah, guys, of Judah. We see you, cuz. Much love to you guys. Thanks for tuning into the front line. I hope we settled this issue of the guns. Much love. I'll see you guys next week.